Welcome back to another episode of Closer Look here across the Village Media Network. It's Wednesday, the 20th day of August, 2025, with Michael Friscolanti, our editor-in-chief. I'm Scott Sexsmith. Great to be back here. You were off, in fact, the last time, or in the time since we last sat here, Air Canada flight attendants went on strike and settled it.
Yeah, I thought we would have to do a show on it, but obviously we didn't.
Well, I'm glad they got everything
I'm
straight.
sure you talked to Gabor a couple times for some advice.
Tell you, what a great guy to have in your Rolodex, especially if you have family members traveling with Air Canada during, a labor crisis like this.
I'm sure Gabor's listening. Gabor, of course, is an expert on passenger rights in Canada, and he's been on the show a couple times, I think.
At least twice.
But it's funny because after the fact, there's been multiple times you come into the office and say, I talked to Gabor last night because someone in my family was having this trouble flying, and I'm thinking, poor Gabor's wishing he never came on our podcast.
Yeah, no, he's a beauty, but glad to see that they got that settled and planes are back in the skies because I know it caused a lot of disruption.
Yeah, and it raised a lot of questions, a lot of discussion going on around, the government order them back to work or just,
no
binding arbitrarily. And whether this has kind of been the go-to move now for the government with every major strike that's happened. And there's a lot of controversy around that issue. And, there's still some various court cases underway with during other strikes and lockouts and things like that. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out because it's not really clear-cut.
Yeah, and I guess if they deem the service to be essential, right, that's kind of the foundation that they use to legislate them back to work. But in this case...
Yeah, and that's it. And governments, not just the Liberals now, but the Conservatives before them, say, "Wow, the public disruption is huge. We have to get them back to work, right?" But really, and I'm not sitting either way on it. But if you're the Air Canada flight attendants, what other leverage do you have besides going on strike? That's kind of what you have. But it was pretty wild few days there from Pearson Airport.
It certainly was. Speaking of wild, a couple of things that I want to mention. We've got a brand new website and a brand new YouTube page.
Tell me about it.
I will tell you about it right now. Closerlookpodcast.ca. Check it out, bookmark it. Every single episode that we've done, bios on the team that all work together to put this show on the air each and every night. Great website, closerlookpodcast.ca. Then on the YouTube side of things, if you want to subscribe there, you can certainly do that at Closer Look Podcast.
All right, and it has all the back episodes.
Everything is there.
And is it true that there's a newsletter you can subscribe to, or is that being set up?
That is almost ready.
Okay.
And what will happen is you'll be able to subscribe to get it delivered right into your inbox every night, 8 o'clock. We are at 7. We'll send it to you at 8. Just in case, you're not by your computer at 7. And there's also a weekend edition as well. So
yes, the rewind, as we're calling it.
Closer Look.
You're not
rewind.
waiting for me to figure out the email newsletters, are you?
No, I am not.
They'll never get sent. Well, we've said it before. This is our attempt to really shine a light on big news issues that are happening, but also on the great journalism our team is doing around the chain. We've kind of been doing this soft launch all summer, and I think it's gone really, really well. And we've had a lot of great episodes already, a lot of interesting people we've interviewed. Tonight is no exception. It's an example of really taking a look at a big story that's going on in one of our communities in Barrie, Ontario, and all Simcoe counties, talking about this police investigation at a homeless encampment in Barrie. Mm-hmm. A person has been charged with 2 counts of murder. The investigation took on there's a whole bunch of levels to this investigation. The police haven't said a whole lot about it. Yeah. What is known is that this whole encampment that I believe housed about 80 people has been evacuated, and the city's now spending millions to wipe it out. So it's not only a crime story here, but it raises questions about how you deal with homeless encampments, which is an issue that communities all over the province are dealing with. So we're going to chat with Kevin Lamb, who's one of our reporters in Barrie, a great journalist, has covered the story really well since it's been unfolding since July, and he'll kind of bring us up to speed on what's been happening and then tackle some of those questions.
Kevin, thanks for joining us today, and certainly thanks for your in-depth coverage of this ongoing story. Frisco and I have a lot of questions, but if we can, let's start at the beginning. This story revolves around a homeless encampment in Barrie. Tell us about the encampment. How long had it been there? How many people live there? And how controversial was it among community members?
The encampment's been there quite a long time, many years. I've been visiting there and doing stories on the people living there for at least 2 years now, and it's a sore point amongst the people in Barrie, people for it and against it.
Is it the biggest one in Barrie? Or the only one?
I would say so, yes. Yeah.
Is this the same encampment where you did those beautiful pieces about the older gentleman who lived there? Was that the same encampment?
Rick the Mayor, yes,
Yes,
exactly.
Rick
It's
the Mayor,
right in that
right.
spot.
All right. So, Kevin, the details of this police investigation sort of trickling out over time, beginning on July 30th when Barrie Police told the public about an active investigation at this homeless encampment. What did you know initially, and maybe kind of walk us through what unfolded from there?
I was away actually at that time on a vacation, and I've been following it for a couple of days. But there was a lot of police were tight-lipped. No details were being released on it at all in any shape or form, and it was a slow process. And they eventually they fenced it off, and the inhabitants of the encampment were moved out. But there wasn't many details at all as to what the investigation was about at all at that time.
And then at some point, there was an alert that they were looking for somebody.
Yes, that's right. They put out a description of a suspect they were looking for, and within a day or two, they apprehended the person, which was Robert Nuttall.
At that time, Kevin, though, no details about what they were investigating, just we're looking for a suspect in relation to our investigation at this homeless encampment?
Yes. There was no hint as to what the investigation was about at all.
That seems strange to me.
It does, yeah.
Like usually if they know they're investigating a murder, for example, they will say this is a murder suspect. Even the fact that my timeline is right, from his arrest on August 2nd, it wasn't until August 14th that he was actually charged with murder, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have a feeling or understand why there was such a lag
Yeah,
there?
why such a long...
No, they're not been in conversation with Barrie Police, and there's no reason for it. It was highly unusual, and it's just something that I've never seen before as far as the lack of information and secrecy around the investigation for as long as it went on.
Yes, and sorry, just to walk through a little bit more, there were multiple scenes here, right? So when they said they were looking for this suspect, there was also an investigation going on somewhere in Huntsville. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, there was a property in Huntsville, I believe, and another one that was mentioned later on in North Simcoe County, but that area wasn't identified.
So, Kevin, when the news broke and this individual was charged with 2 murders, talk to us about the reaction in the community.
Shock and disbelief. I spoke to people that were residing in the area who had been cleared out for the investigation, and they couldn't believe it. The 2 gentlemen, the victims, were well known in the community amongst. One was a notable skateboarder for years, right, and had a bit of a celebrity status among skateboarders there, and there was a lot of shock, a lot of sadness and surprise. I mean, people couldn't believe it.
Yes. I believe the mayor in August 15th, I think, held a press conference outside the scene, right, near the encampment. What was his message to the public? That
was a little Q&A session he held with reporters, and it was basically more about the not so much the investigation, but about the cleanup, the cost, the reasons for fencing it off. He stressed as well that he doesn't have any details either because of the police, because he's not. He doesn't get that information from police, just like the rest of us. So his focus was on the environmental aspects of what was there and on the site, which was years and years of buildup of propane tanks and all kinds of things there from people living there for many years.
Kevin, the mayor has clearly said that things are going to be different going forward. How so?
There's been a lot of pressure on the city and the mayor about why did this happen? Why did it go so long? Where these encampments were built up from 1 to 2 tents to sometimes 20, 30 tents. This spot housed approximately, according to the city, upwards of 80, possibly 100 people. And there's a lot of pressure on the city to crack down on these sorts of things on public property. And the mayor has put out a bold statement saying that it's not going to be tolerated anymore. I'm not sure how he's going to follow through with that, frankly, because of legalities of doing such a thing as moving people out without first having a place for them to be sheltered.
Well, that's it leads into my question, right? There's been court rulings about this, about what a city can and can't do in terms of clearing out homeless encampments. I believe the latest court ruling from the Superior Court talked about how you have to actually have a place for these people to go if you're going to move them out, right? Do you know if that happened in this case? I know there's obviously a big police investigation going on, but did they have places for these 80 to 100 people to go?
Simcoe County is sort of in charge of that within the city of Barrie as far as homeless people and housing. They've set up 2 emergency locations in town. One is at a paramedic station. Another one is the former police headquarters, I believe. And they've set up places there. I'm doing a story on that as well. It appears they say that there's 100 beds available. The county's now countering that. What the city said that the 100 beds are available, saying more along the lines of 40 to 50. Mm-hmm. And I've just found out through some investigating that there's no actual beds at these places. Mm-hmm. Wow. There's just chairs, and there's not a lot of support there, it seems, but I'm trying to find out anyways.
That's what I wanted. I'm going to say this the right way, but for people who are against these homeless encampments, not just in Barrie, but in communities across the province, this ended up being a win-win situation for the city that's wanted to clear out this encampment for a long time. They, as you said, you've reported there, you know that it's been an ongoing situation. So now it's cleared. Mm-hmm. But there's no indication that these people actually have anywhere to go, that it's been actually a worse off situation for them. That's what boggles me a lot about this story, right? Is you now have the city talk, well, it's going to cost us millions of dollars to clean up this thing and blah. But I don't feel like they ever would have been able to move anybody out of there ever unless this happened.
No, it's because of the criminal investigation and the environmental assessment of the site. And the mayor acknowledged that this was a window of opportunity to deal with this particular spot. And it appears I've put a drone in the air and recorded some photographs of the area. It seems they're dismantling all of the buildings and sheds and things. It also appears that they're going to be taking out a lot of the trees in the area, maybe except for the largest of the trees, maybe to create better sight lines through there and to keep people from maybe setting up in these areas where there's a lot of brush, a lot of sort of privacy where they can set up. But at this point, it's too early to say, and no one's sort of commenting on this sort of thing right now.
Yeah, I appreciate you pointing that out. Just remind people the kind of local journalism we do in our community. Here's Kevin. He sent his drone up there. Your photography alone with this coverage has been fantastic, but just giving people a sense of what it looks like. You've been talking to people who are involved with helping people who are struggling with homelessness. You're talking to advocates. You've written stories about the victims. So you're someone who has covered this issue from the ground. And I guess this is a big question, but from your perspective, what is the biggest struggle? What is that hurdle that communities can't seem to overcome to try to deal with these encampments and to help the people in there? It feels like we always hit a brick wall on these. From your experience in covering these stories, what's the real challenge?
I would say the challenge is having some sort of acceptable housing in place to move people, but as well, you can't force people to move into these places. The uptake, apparently, that city quoted in the first day or two of these 100 beds, they said they were available. Only 6 people took the offer up. It's been more since then, I believe. But it's people. A lot of people just want to be on their own. They don't want to be stuck in a building with little to no infrastructure. To live. I mean, they have all their belongings and things. A lot of these places, like homeless shelters and whatnot in the city, you can bring in like one small bag of things, and you have to be out in the morning, and you can't stay there during the day, and you have to be back at night if you're going to stay there. There's a lot of roadblocks for people to use these facilities and things, but there's a lot of work to do. And in my mind, people aren't really working together at all levels to solve the problem and how to get over this, in my mind.
Okay, Kevin, there's a press conference scheduled, I believe, for August 26th at police headquarters with the chief and lead investigator. They're expected to provide more details. What are you expecting?
There's been no indication of what it's going to be as far as I've looked into. I feel that it will be more information about the overall investigation, if there's possibly any further charges going to be laid, if there's any further bodies that may have been maybe on the site. I mean, with lack of information being put out for the media and everyone else, a lot of people are just speculating right now as to what it could be, and it's we'll find out on the 26th as to what is going on with the investigation, and any further charges or evidence that that's come to light in this.
Kevin, what do we know about the suspect?
Robert Ladouceur, he lived in a shed at the site at the Victoria Street encampment, I found out. He is described by many who I've spoke to who are firsthand acquaintances with him as being a bully, as being a drug dealer that people have claimed. And he's not a nice guy, as the picture I've been painted of him.
In terms of the reaction, I keep coming back to the encampment issue because it's such a challenge for so many communities like we talked about. What has been the mood in town or the reaction of people who've been against these encampments? Is it a sense of relief that it's finally cleared out?
Yes, but at the same time, that people think people are just going to move back in again, or move to other areas scattered throughout the city, and nothing really changes. And that's my feeling as well. If it continues the way it is.
Do you wonder, too, if other cities might try the angle of the environmental assessment? Like you said, there's environmental dangers they've discovered there with propane tanks and other things. You'd think that other cities might say, you know what?
Gives them an out,
Yeah,
right?
If it's a public safety issue, and it's like anything. It's like a house or a place of business. They can go in there and shut it down because of that. Is that something possible, do you think?
That's quite likely. If I'm sure other municipalities and cities are keeping an eye on these, what's happening here, and I guess time will tell with that.
All right, we know you're hard at it, so we'll let you go. Great job on this. Good to see you as always. Barrie today's Kevin Lamb. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks.
Okay, I want to go on record as saying if there was a how-to guide to be so good at your job, Kevin Lamb would be it.
Kevin's a great journalist. Yeah, it really epitomizes local journalism because he's out in his community, especially these stories. These are stories that a lot of journalists don't cover unless there's some major tragedy or major issue going on there. But Kevin has spent time there. He's written feature stories. We flicked at it during the interview, but his stories about that gentleman living in the encampment, it was basically just let me tell you more about a person who lives in this encampment.
He humanized the individual, right?
Yeah. Why does he live here? How did he end up here? What's his struggle? Why won't he leave? And they called him the mayor, and there were beautiful photos. Like the photo gallery he ran with that story was phenomenal. He's a very talented photographer. And then that gentleman passed away shortly after.
That's right.
So there was even a memorial service there for him, and he covered that. So when it's really inside baseball with journalism, but when he shows up there to cover a story, the people there trust him because they know the kind of work he does and the kind of journalist he is. And so you can only imagine how many people he's spoken to who understand what's actually happened in there.
I'll tell you, a dream job is being that guy's editor. Yeah, you know it's going to be done right.
That's not what his editor says. But I'm just kidding. No, he's great. He's great.
All right, Kevin Lamb. Okay, that's it for us tonight. Notice the new.
I did see that. I should have mentioned those off the top. Those that was a 7-month on order, wasn't it?
I tell you, we spare no expense on this program.
Is it a plate or a sticker?
It's
both.
I don't know. I just walked down
Derek,
here.
What is it? It's a plate and a sticker, or a plate?
I had to screw them in.
Oh my
wow!
God. Did you personally engrave it? Was that an engraving? You really have to take a closer look to see this.
You really do. Right there. All right.
Good stuff.
That's it for us tonight. We will be back tomorrow. In the meantime, follow us all over social media. Check out our new website, closerlookpodcast.ca. Follow us on YouTube at Closer Look Podcast. We'd love for you to join our family, at least digitally. Okay, back tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. We appreciate you watching this evening. For Michael Friscolanti, I'm Scott Sexsmith. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7 right here on Closer Look.
Frisco and Scott's Wardrobe provided in part by Moores, Sault Ste. Marie.